Well, hello there. You're watching Go Island, where we're celebrating the works of Nelson Joseph.
Aaron Vissia Financial Go Island is brought to you by Aaron Vissia Financial.
Well, hello there. You are watching Go Island. We are here inside the Alberni Valley Museum, where we're checking out their latest exhibit, an exhibit of Nelson Joseph's carvings. Now, Nelson Joseph was a Hoopa-Chesed carver with an enormous body of work, some of which is on display here right now. And co-curator of this exhibit, Rod Sayers, is here to tell us a bit about it. Rod, this is a lovely exhibit.
Thank you.
Why Nelson Joseph? Why was this put together?
Well, it goes a long ways back to many years ago when I was working with the Fluent Speakers group at the Hoopa-Chesed Band office, and I said that there needs to be a book written and an exhibition of Nelson's work. So their response is, well, why don't you do it? So that was probably over 10 years ago when we first started talking about it. So we just thought it was important to acknowledge the work that he did and the contribution he made to our community and to the community of Port Alberni as well.
And looking around at some of the work that's on the walls and in the cases here, a lot of it is from your sister's collection, the Sayers collection, or Irene Williams' collection. There's a few collectors who had a lot of his work.
Yes, there were. This is just a fraction of his work. We do know that there are people in the community that have upwards of 100 of his carvings. So we do know that people have collected a lot of his work over the years. He was very prolific. So I've heard tales of many huge collections.
How many pieces are in this?
About 70.
Wow. And some of it is quite distinctive, isn't it? The plaques with the cross-hatching on the back, some of it looks different than work I've seen.
Well, this spans his entire career, right from, as far as we can guesstimate, the early 60s, right through to when he passed in the late 90s. So it's very distinctive, but I think over the years, his styles have changed and varied. So.
Wow. Well, it's a wonderful collection. We've got more to talk about in a few minutes, but first we're going to go to Jose Araujo, who's going to bring us up to date on all the arts and entertainment in the valley, and Jenny Fortin, who stopped by the annual Sproat Lake Dragon Boat Regatta. Well, welcome back. You're looking at some of the work of Nelson Joseph, a Hoopa-Chesed carver whose work is currently on exhibit at the Alberni Valley Museum. Now, this exhibit was co-curated by Rod Sayers. And Rod, you were kind of aware of Nelson Joseph growing up.
Yes, he was always part of the community. I grew up in the Hoopa-Chesed community, and he was a big part of the community. I didn't know him very well personally, but everyone seemed to know him. Everyone had stories about him, and family was important to him, and he was just a real personality, not only in the Hoopa-Chesed community, but in the broader community of Port Alberni as well.
And we were talking earlier about the huge body of work that he produced. Now, he made his living by carving?
That is my understanding. He exclusively made work to sell. We'd often see him walking up and down River Road, or he had some regular places that he'd take his work. The old Greenport Hotel in Beaver Creek was a regular stop for him. So he was a real working artist. He did it for a living. So.
Wow. Groundbreaking. He was one of the first.
In my mind, yes. That was one thing I always admired about him was that, wow, there's a real living working artist, somebody who does this for a living. And that was one of my early, inspirations to study art.
Now, there's such a variety of work here. There are low relief plaques, there are rattles, there are some totem poles. What is it that sets his work apart for you?
I think that he had a very distinctive style, and of course, the trademark brown polishes that he used make it highly recognizable. But I think anybody who would see one of these plaques who was even vaguely familiar with his work would know that it was Nelson's work. So a lot of recurring themes and a lot of stylistic motifs that he used. It makes his work very distinguishable and easily recognizable.
Now, not all of it is signed. You might have a piece that you think looks like this. Turn it over. There might be an NJ on on the back. There might be a Nelson Joseph. You might have a Nelson Joseph original sitting in your house, and you didn't even know it. Now, we've got more to talk about this exhibit in just a few minutes. But first, we're going to meet a student who is following her bliss. Well, hello again. You are looking at some more of the work of Nelson Joseph, Hoopichesset carver, whose work is being celebrated right now on the walls of the Alberni Valley Museum in an extraordinary exhibit containing so many of his carvings, plaques and rattles and poles and masks. It's quite wonderful. And we have Kirsten Smith, collections curator, to tell us a little bit about the museum's part in this. This must have been so exciting to have this exhibit.
It's very nice getting to work with people in the community, have a real passion for the work and sort of a knowledge behind that and different connections within the community. And they bring a whole different perspective to the work.
Absolutely, and I think working with Rod and Emily must have been so exciting because they care deeply about the subject matter.
Yeah, they have a real passion for this work. You can sort of see it in the way they talk about it and in the stuff they've chosen to put on the walls. And then they're artists as well, so they've really put together a really lovely looking exhibit.
And a many-layered exhibit that talks about Nelson Joseph and really introduces us to the artist.
Yeah, and not someone I didn't know a lot about, but now I'm learned quite a lot about his work, and just to see all the different kinds of pieces on the wall and the neat little bits of carving and the attention to detail that Rod and Emily have pointed out.
Yeah. Now, how long will this exhibit be on the walls here?
This is up until September the 6th.
And what are your hours?
So we are open Tuesday to Saturday from 10 till 5, and we're always open late on Thursday, so we're open till 8 o'clock on Thursdays.
I think the library is open Thursday nights too.
Yep.
Yeah, so you can stop by the library, pick up a great book, check out this exhibit. Please do get here because it's a wonderful exhibit. A local person that maybe you didn't know, maybe you remember. His work is quite marvelous here on the walls of the Alberni Valley Museum. Kirsten, thank you so much. We're almost at the end of our show, but before we go, we've got one more story for you. Jenny Fortin checks out the Rotary Arts District banners. Well, that does bring us to the end of another Go Island, but before I leave the museum, I'm going to check out the gift shop. Until we meet again, be good to each other.
Aaron Vissia Financial Go Island is brought to you by Aaron Vissia Financial, supporting community and providing personalized advice and service to clients since 1996. Our team is ready to help you with your financial future.